Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Please pay attention when this little cheap trick is used against you to defame you or to destroy your character by some weasels. That is, if you disagree with, let's say, option A, you necessarily agree with option B. But there are some other options as well, but they frame the whole conversation in A and B. So therefore, let's say if I like the color white, it means I hate the color black. There are some other options as well. How about I don't care about it? How about I like color white more than color black? How about I don't care about the other color? So you know exactly what I mean if you put it in society. Disagreeing with a policy, it doesn't mean that you support another policy that is opposite to this. There are other options as well. Okay? So if I say I love United States of America, it doesn't mean that I hate the rest of the world. And understand? So if I say I love my family, it doesn't mean I hate everybody else, humankind. If I say I love my wife, it doesn't mean I hate everybody else or any other woman. I just love this one. Okay? So if I love this group, it doesn't mean I hate the other group. Well, this is the cheap shot that these weasels are using sometimes. Now, Zelensky uses the same cheap shot in attacking Hungary for not agreeing with one point of view on one issue. Therefore, Hungary must agree with the opposite issue, which is obviously Russia. So I have here an article coming from, what's this? Ukrainska Pravda. This is from Saturday, 29th of April. Zelensky, Hungary's behavior is unreasonable. How can, this is the question Zelensky asks, rhetorically I guess, how can a NATO country support Russia and oppose the alliance? All right. Well, you can ask this question as long as you are a free person and there will be no repercussions, and which is great. That's why we like freedom and freedom of speech. So, first, Zelensky is assessing that student Hungary's behavior is unreasonable. Therefore, maybe it needs to be changed somehow because Hungary seems, the student Hungary, doesn't have a reasonable behavior according to teacher Zelensky, which is entitled to have his assessment. How can a NATO country support Russia and oppose the alliance? Or the thing with support, you use the word that really fits your narrative. And again, oppose the alliance. Could it be maybe because Hungary thinks independently? Could that be? Hey, Weasel, hello. Can it be? No. Oh, you are with groupthink, herd think. You're a lemming. You want Hungary to be a lemming, but they're not. And they are courageous as well, running or swimming against the current. So let's see what arguments Mr. Zelensky. Obviously, he wants everybody to kill the Russians. And be, because the Russians attacked Ukraine, unprovoked. And if you have a different take on things, I don't know, what should be the punishment, Zelensky? I can only think. Because you like banning things, and arresting things that you deem national security. But anyway, Ukrainian. The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, believes that Hungary's behavior and its relationship with Russia are inconsistent with its status as a NATO member. What do you mean? Was NATO attacked, Zelensky? What is Hungary doing that is against NATO? Was NATO attacked? NATO supports you because they created a certain kind of situation, if you know what I mean. So what are you talking about? And they don't want to play the game. It doesn't mean that if NATO supports, countries in NATO support all this thing, and you, it doesn't mean that they have to agree with it. As like maybe, you know, they're part of a group and they don't like that the group commits a crime. Maybe in their view. Can they have this view? No, this is the whole problem. This guy, who I think has got big tyrannical trends, by his statements and actions, doesn't allow, he can't make the Hungarians, even with the pressure from the bully boy United States, can't make them change their view. Why? Because Hungarians need electricity, need nuclear, uranium. They need for their nuclear plants, and they get them from the Russians. Anyway, not only that, they think about their people before NATO and Zelensky, obviously, and they should. Zelensky in an interview with Finnish against. All right, now let's quote Zelensky. How to resolve the dispute with Budapest? The only thing in question is what Budapest wants. Interest of its own people. Not you first, not United States first, Hungarians. It seems to me that there is a political confusion among the political elites in Hungary. I would take confusion as a keyword, and I would call it, there is a political, how should I put it, not following order idea among the political elites in Hungary. A very strange situation. Can a NATO country be for Russia and against NATO? Remember, these are the only options he gives. This is his A or B. Well, it's not only A or B, my friends. It could be C, like, hey, you know what? It's our national interest. How about that? Or we don't care about you at all. Oh, we don't have to be with NATO on this one. It's not NATO fighting Russia, as long as I remember, officially, is it? Is it? Because if that would be the case, then I don't think Ukraine would have a say. But still, it has to make the decision between the NATO countries. You know, that's a democratic way of solving things, Zelensky. Not like you know, trying to impose certain things like, hey, if it was by Stoltenberg, Ukraine would be by now a NATO member. No, because there are rules and regulations, and countries have to be asked about it. It's other people, it's not like you. Does that tell you democracy-loving person? Anyway, according to Zelensky, no NATO allies can support a country that calls NATO an enemy. Well, again, he framed it like Hungary called NATO an enemy. Oh, I'm sorry, this is about Russia. He called it support. They don't support it. They don't jump on the gravy train of NATO. That's all. They say, no, we're not gonna, it's against our national interest to do that. Bye-bye. Oh, by that you support Russia. I didn't remember NATO being at war with Russia. Is it? If that would be a different situation then, but it's not. And again, this is how Zelensky frames the whole situation. I think, and I'm quoting, this is unreasonable behavior. I think it's very reasonable because it has reason in it, and rational and logical. I am expressing my subjective opinion. Yes, you can, and I have no problem with that, but I can also analyze your subjective opinion. Ally is not just a word. It also beliefs and actions. Correct. Correct. This is a union of states with the same view on security and values. Correct. Correct. But they can differ sometimes because the security sometimes, you know, it's tricky. Because if tomorrow, let's say, I don't know, you have a problem with you are not in NATO with Russia, I don't think that Hungary has to attack Russia unless it's a consensus in NATO. And I don't remember that being achieved. They have different attitudes to certain points, correct, because that's Hungary is different than France. And you know what I mean? They have different interests as nations. And they think differently sometimes. They have different values sometimes. They have different traditions. No? Or we should change all of us to the whatever Brussels tells us, or tell you. But there is a treaty of allies that protect each other and their corresponding values. The president says, yes, they protect each other. You're not part of those allies. You're not. There's no treaty between you and NATO which says that those guys have to attack Russia. And their corresponding values. Yes, but values, you know, certain values we agree with, certain so-called values we don't agree. Now becomes all perversity is a value. No, that's not it. Well, what it is, but anyway. And besides, you are not the pinnacle of values either, Zelensky, so tone it down. And I'm quoting again. And if all the allies are saying Russia is calling us an enemy, we have to put Russia in its place. We. He's talking for NATO here. Like, if all the allies are saying Russia is calling us an enemy, why? Oh, no, that was an unprovoked attack by Russia. I forgot about. That's the narrative we have to parrot. No, Russia is our ally. It can't be that way. Well, who said Russia is their ally? Hungary? Hungary is doing business with Russia, so for its own citizens. They don't want to shoot themselves in the foot like the rest of Europe did. And they had to. They imposed sanctions. What do you want? Oh, they don't go all the way because you say so? That means you are no longer an ally of alliance. Look how this guy is thinking. Analyze his way of so-called reasoning. How he reasons. So because you don't go all the way over there, he's not bound to go with NATO and all this. You're not an ally. Okay, kick it out. Yeah, we will. Or maybe destroy it. Intervene. Do I don't know, a Czechoslovakia attack or a Budapest attack of Hungary, at 54, whatever it was, 56, whatever, 54, I think. And then Czechoslovakia in 68. You want to do that? You are with the mentality of those guys, Zelensky. And nobody calls you out. So if you are de jure an ally, but de facto you're working against the allies, so if you don't work with the allies, necessarily that means plan B. It's no C, never. Because he frames it that way. Then you should not be advising whether Ukraine should or shouldn't join NATO. And you shouldn't be putting up obstacles. So this is, you don't agree with us, you have problems with us, therefore we kick you out. Zelensky, in a democratic system, each person has equal vote, all right? And you can disagree, all right? So when we go and we vote, even in a Senate or even for a law, if some people disagree with a direction, I don't know, they want to go to, it doesn't mean that they support the other side and they are against the whole system. That's a situation that it seems like Zelensky cannot go through his thick skull. He's like, you are against me, I will remove you. That's his attitude. Hungary cannot be with us because he's not doing what someone said. Where am I allowed to have it doesn't mean, who brings the idea? Let's start with this. Okay, who comes with the idea Russia is our enemy? In NATO, a country must come with that. And everybody says, yes, I'm agreed. Yes, I think so. And no, I don't agree with that, let's say. Could that be possible? In Zelensky's brain is not. Because it's not all the countries wake up in the morning and say, at the same time, we hate, that's our enemy right there. Why do they call you their enemy? But that's a different 3 hours conversation. So again, I think this guy is just a very much tyrant-minded individual. And if you don't do what he likes and he wants you to do, you're out. You should be taken out. That's how is his attitude. Like he is the pinnacle of perfection somehow. He thinks that Ukraine should belong into NATO and European Union. I don't think so. You have certain steps you have to follow, you have to jump through. And I think, that's my personal opinion, that, or assessment, if, I don't know what kind of Ukraine, if, would join the European Union, I think the European Union will regret it. Because you don't bring only, a territory that you're gonna plunder later, and a population that you're gonna make it work for you. You're gonna bring certain kind of groups in your country, in your territory, in the European Union, and then you're gonna be a little bit, protected. So that's another thing. Do you think that corruption will not? Ukraine is not corrupt. Correct. Anyway, there's rules and regulations. If you bypass those, then you don't have, you're going to have anarchy. Because everybody will say, wait a minute, Ukraine was not held to the same standard I was held when I was admitted to the European Union or into NATO. What's going on here? There are rules, Zelensky rules, but he's not used to that. That's how tyrants think. There's a rule, I can break it. I don't like it, you're out. How are you out? He can't do that with Hungary, but I definitely think that he would like to have Orban and Giarto and some others, sent somewhere else. Anyway, this is my assessment of this guy, and I will continue to have this assessment because I analyze his statements. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.